guys, welcome to episode 2 of House of the Dragon. So, what do you guys think of the season, or just the whole series so far? I quite liked the second episode, and I decided not to go back and check what the first episode's reading were, which I planned on doing, checking what was said in the first video and then reflecting back on in the second. I decided to wait until the whole season is gone or done, and then go back, watch all the videos that I did and see, if there were cards already appearing in the earlier stages that were relevant at the end and we didn't notice and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be more fun like that. Please do share your interpretations of the cards, because this is just like for fun, and we can all learn from doing these readings together, because it's not serious, because it's about fictional characters. I mean, not serious for us, for them, obviously. So I was thinking about obviously checking on the young princess again, because she's the main character so far. I'm not gonna say she's gonna be the one, because we all know how, the whole Game of Thrones world can operate, even though I don't think that anything is gonna happen to her. And then on Daemon, and then on Miss Hightower, and her relationship with the king and with the young princess, because I think there could be some unexpected turn of events in that relationship as well. Also, how disgusting it was, and I'm happy they didn't went with the 12-year-old child bride option, which I know it was usual and normal in those times, which I know this is a fictional show, but it relies heavily on medieval European history for inspiration, and I know that's why we have a young empress in tarot and an older emperor. It was the same situation, but I was so glad that the king didn't went down that route, because it was just like all the time. Even though I know this is fiction, it was very hard not to be very, very upset, which I guess it's good, because the show is showing you what fucked up things people did in the past, and we kind of learned from at least that aspect, but still. So yeah, let's check on the princess. Let's see who is a kick-ass character, and I really like her. And I wish we had, when I was growing up, to be honest, more characters like her on TV, because I know that this is a cliche, but I modeled, obviously like everybody else, I modeled myself and what was expected of me as a young girl growing up as a teenager, based on what I saw in media. So looking back, I blame a lot on those movies and shows that I've seen. So even though this is maybe not the best show to watch, the representation for strong young girls is absolutely appreciated, and I really like her, and I like the way she thinks, I like the way she acts. You can still see and sense the the young and naive and unexperienced side in her, which is because of how old she is, but we have already those traits in place that will show that she has a potential to become someone great, because it's just the potential. Ooh, okay, let's go with those two. Oh, okay, Empress and the Knight of Spears. And I'm not surprised, to be honest, that Daenerys came out for her, because she's pretty much very close to what she is in Game of Thrones. I mean, Daenerys. Okay, we have the traitor, Ten of Swords, King of Coins, which I would have, in this reading, I would say it feels more like her father, because kings doesn't have to represent a person. Most of the time they represent energy. But because we're doing a reading about a fictional character and a young girl whose relationship with her father is very central, and it was in the episode, so I'm not surprised at all that we have the King of Coins here. And like I said, for me right now it feels more like a representation of another person than an energy that she needs to embody or deal with. Obviously it could be her mother as well, but you know, she's no longer in the series. Interesting, the Ten of Swords with the traitor, because I didn't see anything. I'm just thinking about back the episode. I mean, she did a lot of things that will provoke other people to look at her as threat, for sure. So this Ten of Swords can indicate that there's gonna be someone who is trying to sabotage and, you know, just screw her over. But it, you know, the Ten of Swords also usually says you're feeling that the end is near and things are horrible, and because it's next to the King of Coins or Pentacles, it might be that this card is talking about her reaction to the announcement that her father is going to marry her friend, which, you know, she was okay with marrying someone who is a stranger, who is just there for the role, and you know, she understands, which I think is very nature of her, and I think it's a good trait for a princess, that, you know, she actually understands the politics behind marriages in like a court. But you know, she was okay with that, but she definitely wasn't okay with her father marrying someone that she knows and trusts, because that felt like a betrayal. So I'm thinking that this card is talking about that feeling betrayed by your father, who just, you know, oh, and then it could be who announced that, you know, they're gonna marry your friend. And the Empress, I felt like it was about her, and it still could be that she's gonna overcome everything, and you know, she will have her own company to help her, because the Knight of Spears, which is the Knight of Wands, can mean an actual knight in this context. That's why this deck is great for this show, because it can actually represent a type of character that will be influential in the character's life. And we have a knight who's young and handsome, and she picked her for her father. But you know, when a knight is that young and that handsome, you know what's gonna happen, most likely. So there could be something there, that she's gonna be, you know, she's gonna find her own company in that way and be protected. Or it could just represent that, you know, her new mom, what is it, stepmom, is that young female who might become something that's gonna, you know, like, because the Knight of Spears is all about passion and acting really confidently and go charging forward, even though you don't necessarily know what you're doing. It could mean, but I kind of don't feel like that it's talking about the other person. So I'm taking that back. You know what? It's about her. And that's why I love doing readings, because sometimes you think that there's two options for the cards on the table, and then you start thinking about it and it doesn't make sense. The confirmation of feelings doesn't come through, which is how I usually decide on the direction that I go with the reading, is what makes me feel right, as in what I see on the table. It makes me feel right to talk about her as the Empress and not the other person, because there's not enough cards for that. We're gonna pull later, But yeah, it kind of feels like that the betrayal that she feels by her father and the choice he made is going to propel her forward to become more independent, to become more self-sustained, and finding her own company that will help her become a queen. Because, you know, like the actual to actually ascend to the throne, because everyone keeps telling her that, you know, as soon as Damon has a child, and if it's a boy, she's gonna lose the chance to inherit the throne. And I think the more she hears that, as at least it looks like, the more pissed off she gets and more determined that she will have the throne. So we will see. It's kind of, again, a game of chairs with the throne in this series as well, because, well, honestly, there's a lot of swords next to that throne, which is interesting. I love how well fitted this deck is for the series, obviously. But okay, this is for her, so it looks like she's gonna use that, and there might, you know, there might be a bigger crack between the relationship of her and her father. Between that relationship, there's gonna be, I kind of feel like, you know, because this character is looking forward and showing her back to this one, that it kind of feels like I just don't care, I'm gonna ignore you, which I think is valid. It was a surprising move. I mean, not for us viewers, that it wasn't that surprising, but for her, she probably feels blindsided. Okay, let's check on the king then, because he made a decision that's not gonna be popular with the rest of the, as we saw at the end, influential people in the court, especially in the council. So let's check the king and then Damon, and then the political changes, I guess. Okay, Queen of Cups, ex-wife, probably. Here, or not, or the new one. Eight of Coins. Let's see, I'd like to have one more, please. Eight of Coins, interesting, because it kind of suggests that, you know, Queen of Cups is someone who's more on the nurturing side. Yeah, strength. Someone who's perfectly able to handle their emotions, and it can be him as well, because he as a king needs to do that, needs to learn to deal with the loss of his wife and child, and the distrust of the young princess, and this new connection that he formed with, you know, Miss Hightower, Lady Hightower, which is so weird to say, to be honest. Knowing where Hightowers are, you know, in the next series. But it also could mean her, you know, it can absolutely mean both, because we have the Eight of Coins, which is about continuously working on something until it gets perfect. It becomes perfection, and it's a tedious work. Sometimes it's repetitive, it's monotone, but it's much needed. You need to do that in order to achieve the Nine of Pentacles state. And it can mean the relationship with his new bride. It could also mean that he needs to work on his emotions and how he regulates his emotions, because he needs to be a bit more open and nurturing and accepting towards, I would say, his daughter. I don't think it's about, you know, there's a lot of conflict in the other relationship, even though it doesn't, you know, it's not as honest as he thinks. But obviously there are real feelings, I think, there, even though it looks like it, you know, I mean, it was set up, but okay. And strength, yeah, he will definitely need And I liked this strength card because it highlights and represents that not physical strength is what he will need to deal with whatever is coming, but emotional and mental strength. So even though the cards don't necessarily tell you that what's coming, it's gonna be testing his resilience, but every card on the table suggests that. So he's not gonna be having a lot of fun. It's gonna be a very stressful period of time coming up for the king, I think understandably. And it's gonna be more about emotions and how things will make him feel than how he, what actually happens, because I kind of feel like he will have to restrain himself a lot in order to not cause bigger and greater damage. Because these cards really have that restrained, regulated self, which a queen or a king, anyone who rules needs to adapt if they want to be a good ruler, because they can't act on their emotion. That's where Daemon is kind of lacking right now. He's playing childish games, testing waters and boundaries. So it's quite interesting. Okay, so that's for the king. Let's check Daemon. I think Messmates is great for this role, by the way. You would want to beach slap him across the room, but that's why. Okay, that's why this character is great. I mean, at least it's not horrible in a way that his predecessors were, because that would be kind of boring. Oh, okay. We have King of Wands. Three of Swords, King of Wands. Well, Three of Swords is heartbreak for sure. And I would say that heartbreak is definitely connected to, especially because the Three of Swords is connected to the mind, that it's the thought that he was sure that he's gonna be the heir, and that was taken away from him. I think it hurts more of his ego than his heart. The refusal is it's a double thing, because his pride is wounded for sure. That's why he went on and provoked the king, and that's why it was brilliant that the princess reacted to the provocation, because he wasn't able to just be like, you know what, I don't care, I'm gonna kill everyone who's here, because his confrontation is with the king. And that's why I liked that showed that he's not necessarily an asshole, because he could have done something really bad with the princess, but I think he likes her. At least for now, At least for now, him liking the princess is stronger than his need for the throne, I would say. But we have a Five of Coins here, so he was presented with an offer at the end. And the King of Spears is the King of Wands, who is a passionate king who takes a small idea, runs with it, and turns it into something amazing. But it can, also burn everything down along, in the process, and because he only cares about what he wants. So that's the shadowy side of that king. And it's interesting that because we have the Five of Coins, I kind of get the feeling that if he acts on, which, it wouldn't be surprising from the storyline, but if he acts on that offer, if he actually tries to get the throne, he could be a great king. Someone who would learn how to become or be the king, and not just the fire and passion that burns through everything. He could become a good king, which is interesting. But if he takes that, if he goes after that, or not even doing anything about it, but the need and want to become the king is gonna be the one that will make him feel isolated and left out. That's gonna be the one that if he doesn't let go of that, which I'm assuming he won't be able to, at least not until the end, that's the very thing that he thinks that would make him, the center of attention of everybody and connected with everybody, because I kind of feel like it's in the character as well. Obviously, it's just me, but it kind of looks like that need is the very thing that makes him feel actually isolated and alone. And if he would be just like the second, if he would be able to accept that, he would be much happier. But his pride and ego would never let that happen, at least not right now, which is so interesting. Not surprising at all, but interesting that that's the highlight for this episode. Okay, and what did I say? I wanna I kind of don't want, I'm gonna check on the girls first, and then just the overall political landscape of the land, because that could be fun. I mean, do let me know if you're having fun or if you have any questions, because I'm having fun. And I can't wait for episode 3. Ah. Ooh, okay. Is it the representational card for the young princess? Looks like. 3 of Swords. Two blues. These cards are not really moving around on this thing. Okay, give me a card for. Okay. Oh, good. Interesting. I kind of wasn't expecting that, but with the 3 of Swords, there's that suggests that that a decision was made. A journey is started. It's a new journey, obviously, and their relationship changed. But interestingly, we still have the 2 of Cups, which means an equal relationship, and it suggests that they're gonna find a way to reconcile, and she's gonna be able to find a way to kind of forgive her for not, saying anything or being put in that position of becoming the new queen. It kind of suggests like that's gonna happen, which we will see. I'm quite curious. Okay, so we will actually, Jon Snow, we will see. I love this card, by the way. And let's get one last one for the political landscape of the land. What's the overall political situation? Just anything like main message. Is it as bad as we think it is? Fool. I would say there's change coming. Okay. Overall, like I kind of feel like this represents the king, so I would say it's all about him being in the center. And the 2 of Spears is the 2 of Wands, which talks about a decision to be made. Deciding what you want, where you want to go. So there are definitely new beginnings, especially with the Fool. There are players on the board which we don't see yet, that might make a big decision that will have an effect on the king, and that will force him and the whole realm to pretty much choose a new way of moving forward. So it kind of feels like that the old established rules are challenged, and there's gonna be something that will definitely change the course that the king, either the king set for the country and the realm, or what the expectation was for the king and the realm, which could be the wedding, maybe. But yeah, there's someone who's not visible yet who will have an effect on everything, I feel like, which is quite exciting. Okay, I'm gonna stop because otherwise, you know, we will sit here forever. Ooh, 8 of Spears, 8 of Wands, a lot of movement. So hope this is fun for you guys as well. It's fun for me. Please do comment down below, or let's have a conversation. How did you like the second episode? What do you expect from the third one? And what was your interpretation for the cards? Because I'm gonna look everything, you know, like what other people say when I do the final roundup, to see who was right, who saw more than what I've seen. Because this is, like I said, this is just for fun. So yeah, thanks so much for being here. Check out the description for all the ways to support me and the channel and my decks and whatnot. And see you in the next one. Have a lovely day, the best one possible.